Happy Heroes Day to all Rwandans and friends of Rwanda, wherever you are, and welcome to RwandaTV News in English. With me, William Evans Mtabazi, beginning with the headlines. President Paul Kagame has reminded Rwandans that Heroes Day is a moment to reflect on the country's past and present challenges in order to draw lessons. While families have been called upon to prioritize dialogue in resolving their challenges as a key to preventing family breakdown and building a strong and stable nation. I'm William Evans with the news in detail, but of course later on in the bulletin we shall be joined by Honorable Justice Harrison Mutabazi, who is going to be talking to us about matters pre-bargaining. Now, this is the news in detail. President Paul Kagame has reminded all Rwandans that Heroes Day is a moment to reflect on the country's past and present challenges in order to draw lessons that will help build a strong Rwanda for the future. Rwanda marked Heroes Day in a ceremony attended by President Paul Kagame and First Lady Jeannette Kagame. The two led raids at the Rwanda National Heroes Museum in Remera. While addressing participants during the national prayer for the country, President Paul Kagame also reflected on the significance of Heroes Day and why it was established. He explained that heroism emerges in response to challenges and that every generation is called upon to confront and overcome its own obstacles.
This moment coincides with what has already been mentioned to you, the Heroes Day. In fact, before I came here, I had to, that's why I didn't join you earlier. I had to go and lay the wreath to give respect to why the Heroes Day was put there in the first place. So it's a good coincidence as well. So, to contextualize all that, why the Heroes Day? The Heroes Day because every nation, all people of this world find themselves in one situation or another, or circumstances that also informs and influences their actions and struggles. So this was a moment and to remind us of our own struggle as a nation and what we have gone through, what we are going through, and what is expected of us in the end to triumph.
Thomas Twagiramungu, whose child is among the Imena category heroes from Inyanje Secondary School, says that he does not grieve the loss of his child, who sacrificed her life for national unity, because he continues to see the impact and value of the sacrifice today.
I
came to honor Mujawa Mahoro, Marie Chantal, and this is something that makes me very happy because it fulfills how she had chosen to live her life, and her choice has given meaning to us all today and her as a heroine. She believed in the unity of all Rwandans and died for that cause. Some of the surviving former students of Nyanje Secondary School, now recognized as Imena category heroes, say they share a deep bond with Rwanda. They add that the deaths of their fellow students remain a source of strength, motivating them to remain steadfast in working for the well-being of every Rwandan.
I feel it's a great bond I have with my country. Also, when the country recognizes this and identifies me as a heroine, it's something beyond what words can say. When everything was going on, none of us thought about getting titles or anything, just like I think such things weren't there at a time. But recognizing us makes us feel valued. We have been highly valued, appreciated, and respected, and it's something we must continue to protect to ensure our country develops even more with unity at the core.
Kuba intwari umuntu agihumeka ni umukoro ariko ni n'isomo.
Being a hero while still alive is such a huge responsibility and a lesson too. It's a responsibility because one is to continue walking in the path, doing good deeds, being exemplary to especially the young people. They should learn that everyone who does good, the country recognizes it.
Bigaragara yuko umuntu wese ukora neza igihugu kibiha agaciro.
As part of the national commemoration, families of Rwanda's heroes also laid wreaths at monuments bearing the names of categories of their loved ones. Among the man's heroes, Major General Fred Gisa Rwigema and the unknown soldiers were honored by the family of Fred Gisa Rwigema alongside members of the Rwanda Defense Force. In the Inema category, families including those of King Mutara III Rudahigwa, Michel Rwagasana, Felisteni Tegeka, and Agatha Uwiringiyimana pay tribute to these heroes. For the Nyanja students who were killed, their families and surviving schoolmates honored them by laying wreaths at the monuments dedicated to their heroism. Now, President Paul Kagame has called on families to prioritize dialogue in resolving their challenges, saying it is key to preventing family breakdown and building a strong and stable nation. He also urged parents in particular to pay close attention to upbringing of children and youth so that the family truly becomes the foundation of a resilient country. Adam Squeezer.
The National Prayer Breakfast was attended by President Paul Kagame and First Lady Jeannette Kagame, and is organized annually by the Rwanda Leaders Fellowship. This year's gathering provided an opportunity to reflect on challenges facing the Rwandan family and explore solutions guided by godly values. Retired Major General Julie Benz noted that families that strengthened one members stop focusing solely on themselves, begin considering the common good, and take time to pray together.
So the biggest change in the family was the relationship between my dad and my mom. Now, we kids were gone in about 10 years, but mom and dad had to figure out how to recalibrate their marriage. And what I saw of my parents' efforts changed me because it turned them into saints. And what Dad started to do with my mom is he started to deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow after Jesus. And what my mom did is when she saw it, she started to deny herself, pick up her cross, and follow Jesus. Now, I don't know about you, but that's hard, right? Why is it hard? Why is denying yourself hard? Well, first off, to deny myself, I'm very self-indulgent. I don't know about you, but it really is all about me, right? So denying myself, it's hard. It says, no, it's really about you, or it's really about God in me wanting to will your good. Okay, so then pick up the cross. Well, I don't want to. It looks heavy. And there's this presumption of, why do I need to pick up the cross? Didn't Jesus do it for me?
These were also reiterated by President Paul Kagame, who emphasized that the nation and family are closely connected and should both be protected and nurtured together.
When one element is not functioning well, it affects others. If individuals are not doing well, families cannot function as they should. And when both the individual and the family are struggling, it is difficult for a nation to thrive. Everything in between is rooted in what is instilled in the individual, the family, and the nation. This is about affirming values, understanding what is right and wrong, and building on that foundation so that the individual, the family, and ultimately the nation can be well.
President Kagame also said he finds it difficult to understand how a couple can fail to communicate and resolve the issues that may threaten the stability of their family.
How can two people fail to live together? If two are many, one might understand, but just two? Surely people can have patience. What kind of offense could be so serious that it forces them to separate? And even if such an offense exists, can't they sit down, discuss it, and agree that it should never happen again?
The head of state further reminded participants that Rwanda cannot be changed by anyone, urging young people to avoid losing their identity.
Never, especially you, our children and young people, including those I saw born in 1995, and even those born just before, never fall into the trap of abandoning your identity. Wherever you go in the world, whatever you see or admire, do not try to escape from who you are or imitate someone else you encountered elsewhere. That cannot be sustained. And even if it appeared to work for a while, it is like living without really existing.
The 31st edition of National Prayer Breakfast brought together government officials, representatives of churches and religions, private sector, youth, members of the diplomatic corps, among others. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams Kwizera. Now, National Heroes Day was celebrated nationwide with activities held in villages across the country. The celebrations were marked by the official inauguration of various development projects, including roads, public service buildings, residential houses, and social support initiatives targeting vulnerable families. Olive Nete.
In Gasabo District, Kachiru Sector, Kamutwa Cell, residents inaugurated a road extending over 300 meters alongside renovated village and cell administrative officers. In Jawana Sector, Kawiye Cell, an asphalt road was also officially inaugurated. These projects were implemented through strong community participation. In Nyarugenge District, Nyamirambo Sector, residents expressed their commitment to upholding the values and legacy of Rwanda's heroes who laid the foundation of the nation. In Chichijiru District, Kanombe Sector, participants were reminded of the actions that defined Rwanda's heroes, while support was extended to an elderly citizen who contributed to the country's liberation struggle. The City of Kigali Vice Mayor in charge of urbanization and infrastructure, Fulgence Dusabimana, called on city residents to safeguard public infrastructure and ensure its effective and sustainable use. In the Northern Province, celebrations in Gicumbi District took place at Umurindi W'Intwari in Kaniga Sector, where residents commended the RPF Inkotanyi for restoring hope and fostering peaceful coexistence. In Musanze District, 22 newly constructed multi-story buildings in and around Musanze town were officially inaugurated, comprising commercial premises, hotels, an education institution, and other facilities. The governor of the Northern Province, Maurice Mugawagahunde, emphasized that such development initiatives embody the spirit of heroism and will continue to receive government support. In the Southern Province, Kamonyi District inaugurated 2 bridges constructed in the Gikoro wetland, linking the sectors of Rukoma, Karama, Kayenzi, and Gamba. The project included a major bridge and a secondary support bridge, with a total investment of nearly 600 billion Rwandan francs. Residents and road users reported improved connectivity and reduced isolation. In Gisagara district, a level 2 health center was officially inaugurated. In Huye district, Gishambu sector, Kibogo cell, the birthplace of national heroine Felicite Niyitegeka, a water supply system was commissioned at Vumbi School Complex, where the heroine pursued her primary education. In Nyaruguru district, Ruramba sector, the celebration was coupled with donating cows to economically vulnerable households to promote sustainable livelihoods. In the Western Province, Karongi district, Rusingizandekwe Damasen, a liberation struggle veteran living with disability, received a cow in recognition of his service. Additionally, 2 families in Bwishura sector received cows born under the Girinka program. In Rutsiro district, Ruhango sector, 23 households were handed over newly constructed houses featuring 3 bedrooms, a living room, kitchen, sanitation facilities, and water storage systems. Beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the continued social and economic support provided by the government. In the Eastern Province, Kayonza District, Heroes' Day celebrations were preceded by a cycling race aimed at instilling the values of patriotism and heroism among youth. In Goma District, a trophy was awarded to the security services team after defeating the district staff team in a friendly football match. Overall, the celebrations of National Heroes' Day centered on the national theme, highlighting heroism and unity for Rwanda's development.
Thank you, Olive Nete. Now, Rwanda's Heroes' Day was also celebrated by Rwandans living abroad, and was marked by discussions encouraging them to actively contribute to the country's development, with everyone striving to follow in the footsteps of the heroes. In Ethiopia, Rwandans living in Addis Ababa celebrated Heroes' Day, reflecting on the legacy left by the heroes through their selfless sacrifice aimed at giving the country a new image. Rwandans across the event featured discussions on the values of heroism and resilience that have characterized the history of Rwandans across different periods. Ambassador Charles Karamba emphasized that the unity of Rwandans is the strong foundation upon which Rwanda's journey of development is built. The event was also marked by sports activities and other cultural performances. While in Tanzania, Rwandans living in Arusha and Moshi, together with Rwanda's High Commissioner in Tanzania, General Patrick Nyamvumba, joined other Rwandans in celebrating Heroes' Day. General Patrick Nyamvumba delivered a presentation explaining that heroism becomes evident during extraordinary times, such as those Rwanda has experienced from the past to the present. He highlighted that throughout history, heroes have always emerged, ensuring Rwanda's safety. He also stated that heroes come to the fore when a country is under threat, carrying out exceptional acts to protect the nation and sacrifice themselves for others. Referring to the recent history, he noted that extraordinary heroism demonstrated in stopping the genocide against the Tutsi. General Patrick Nyamvumba also tasked Rwandans living in Arusha and Moshi to embody the values of heroism in everything they do and wherever they go. Other presentations emphasized that Heroes' Day is an opportunity to learn from the history of those who sacrificed their lives so that Rwanda could live and enjoy freedom. Participants were also reminded that Heroes' Day is dedicated to remembering and honoring those who devoted themselves to the country, fought for its sovereignty and unity, and worked for the well-being of all Rwandans. While in China, Rwandans living in China also celebrated Rwanda's Heroes' Day. Rwanda's ambassador to China, Ambassador James Chimonyo, urged them to uphold the values of heroism, including integrity, patriotism, selflessness, humanity, as they pursued knowledge that will help Rwanda achieve its desired development. The defense attaché reminded attendees that among the heroes honored on this day are those who sacrificed themselves to fight genocide ideology, urging the young generation to preserve that legacy. The youth representative, Justin Birakoreka, encouraged young people to contribute to Rwanda's development using their abilities through the National Strategy for Transformation, NST2, and Vision 2050. In Sweden, Rwandans living in Sweden and Friends of Rwanda also gathered in the city to celebrate National Heroes Day. The event featured discussions on heroism and national unity as pillars of sustainable development, as well as crucial role of youths in preserving heroic values. Participants also enjoyed a social gathering marked by cultural entertainment, showcasing Rwandan culture along with intergeneration discussions, reinforcing the responsibility to safeguard the legacy of heroism wherever they may be in the world. I'm now joined by Honorable Justice Harrison Mutabazi, who is the spokesperson of the judiciary of Rwanda. Of course, we are going to be talking matters plea bargaining. The judiciary has been out on the field for the entire week discussing plea bargaining. Honorable Justice, many thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Let's begin by you giving us sort of a picture. What was the week like? What was your experience on the field?
Well, thank you very much, Evans. The week was very fruitful, and that is definitely grounded by the numbers that we garnered from the week-long that the process was rolled out in all the correction facilities in the country. That is, we had 12 correction facilities that benefited from the plea bargaining process. That is the judges, the prosecutors, the lawyers, and definitely other justice sector partners were in the correction facilities. First of all, talking about plea bargaining and its benefits, but also seeing how the process is going. And at the end, I'll say we're so happy that we got 818 cases that were resolved through plea bargaining. I think this is the first time that we have such a big number in such a short time. I say we kicked off on Monday, and we ended on Thursday. So it's basically 4 days. It's even not entirely the entire week. So it's 4 days. But seeing that we have 818 cases resolved is something that is, well, a joy to us as the judiciary, but definitely the entire judicial justice sector, the prosecution, the correction facilities, and everyone that is in that chain of justice chain. So that is how the week was. I would say it was so fruitful because it showed how a synergy between the entire justice chain can very much of benefit. I'll also say that we teamed up with the Legal Aid Forum because it supported the lawyers that were in the correction facilities. And so I was saying that it shows that synergy in the justice chain can definitely bring very good yields in that aspect. So that is how the week was. And I definitely, I would reckon that there's a lot of benefits that we gained from the week long.
Let me just pick up from the cases.
Yes.
818 cases in just 4 days.
Yes.
That is huge. That is really huge.
Yes.
One would wonder, of course, pre-bargaining is a bit a new concept. I understand it's been around for about 38 months.
Yes,
right?
39
months, yes. And it's giving this much, results in 4 days.
Yes.
In terms of principle or even the process, usually how long does it take for someone to be able to benefit from this? But also talk to us about who qualifies and who does not qualify. Okay.
Well, how long it takes, it definitely depends on the negotiation, because plea bargaining, I want to remind the viewers that plea bargaining is it's initiated between the prosecutor and the defendant. It can be the defendant initiating or asking for plea bargaining, or it could be the prosecutor asking for plea bargaining. So it will depend on how fast the negotiations have gone. If they are fast, like it was last week, then the process could go very fast, because after the negotiations and they come into an agreement, then the agreement will be brought to the court. Usually the courts will not take a lot of time to assign or review the agreements. They take a day or two to look into the agreements, and then they will affirm them, or otherwise, or may say take back the agreements and then revisit them in one or the other. But it also doesn't take more than 2 to 3 days in a nutshell. So it shows you how plea bargaining is very fast, timely, it will provide timely, quality, and definitely a restorative justice. So it is very fast. Then who qualifies? Our laws, our instructions, the Chief Justice instructions that we have, practice directions that we have, they say plea bargaining can be applied on all cases. And that is this threshold to the plea bargaining internationally standard. Plea bargaining can be applied on all cases. But definitely in those directions, it also says that the powers are vested again into the actors, that is the prosecution, and then the courts, to ascertain and say, if this case goes through plea bargaining, won't it cause a miscarriage to justice? So if they find that, no, this one can't go through this, then they will say, no, this one is not eligible to plea bargaining. But if it's fine, it's fine, and it meets all the threshold, and the defendant is not coerced, is revealing everything and is agreeing to go through plea bargaining, then they can ascertain. So it's a case-by-case process. It's not a blanket that every case can go through this. That is why we have a process of screening. Then we have a process that it come into the court. When it comes into a court, definitely it's another review to see is really this eligible to go through plea bargaining. Won't there be any miscarriage of justice? There's nothing that has been going about the law and all this. So if that, then it's ascended in that way. So I would say it's a case-to-case basis.
Yes, Honorable, in your mandate,
yes,
I also understand that when you're practicing law or when you're delivering justice, you do it on behalf of citizens. Actually, in their best interest. In the name of yes,
of the citizens. Yes.
So the 818.
Yes.
You're talking about prosecutors and defendants.
Yes.
And then I'm thinking about the victims. How do you balance between delivering justice in the name of the people? We include, of course, the prosecutors that are trying to, fight the case backlogs, but also the defendants that are trying to understand the benefits of plea bargaining and taking advantage of that. But also the victim that is coming to the courts, of course, filing of the cases, hoping to get justice.
Yes, well, the beauty of our process, the way we are taking it, and by law, the victim is also catered for. Looking at the Chief Justice practice directions and our law, they definitely highlight the victim. Though he's not the main actor in the process, the main actors are the defendant and then the prosecutor, but also the victim is it. So the beauty is that the prosecution has really taken time to see that all cases, they will try to look for the victim and say, look, the defendant has requested to go through plea bargaining. And this is how the process is going to be. Are you interested? When they say we're interested, and then they can come on board, and then after the negotiations of the prosecutor and the defendant, then there can be a negotiation between the victim and the defendant. And actually, with these 818 cases, we have a good number where victims have also been part of this. And by the way, we've had a very good feedback from the defendants, them themselves, after the negotiation between the prosecutor and the defendant. They've been telling us and say, I'm now getting a negotiation between the prosecutor and I'm getting a lenient sentence, but I also want the victim to come in because I don't want to, after my sentence, to go out and then the victim will be astonished and say, how did this man come in when I'm without my knowledge? And they've been very good. And that's why we say plea bargaining, like any other area, it's part of the restorative justice that we are really embracing right now. We are moving very much away from retributive justice to restorative justice. In that, we are trying to put into place the policies that were adopted in 2022 by the cabinet, the area policy and the criminal justice policy in that sense. Yes.
Well, a number of countries have also come up with reforms. I understand Namibia, I think, has something they call open courts, where people are a bit not so guarded and prison-like. In the reforms that you're having in the judiciary to sort of turn how you deliver justice, of course, looking at how quick which it is given, but also the sort of quality, the quality of justice that you offer. Beyond plea bargaining, what else are you doing in terms of reforms, but also to fight, to help people get out of prisons that are now punishing, or that are moving from punishing now to restore and return people to society when they are full whole beings?
Yes, thank you very much. As I said, we are now moving very much from a retributive type of justice that, by the way, that is very much international, because we subscribe to the international forums where all the judiciary is now that looking at ADR, and ADR is mainly turning to restorative justice. Well, of course, having especially in the criminal aspect, the defendant definitely supposed to be convicted, sentenced, and then serve a sentence, but a sentence that definitely will be working around to have him think of the sentence, but then have him also mend the relations between the victim and him. So we're doing several things. Apart from plea bargaining, we also introduced victim offender mediation. That is in the courts. And actually it featured during this week, though the numbers were not as those from plea bargaining. We had almost 40 cases that also settled through plea bargaining. Through victim offender mediation. Victim offender mediation is a little bit restricted because it doesn't go above a 5-year sentence. It's a case that is below 5 years, it's 5 and below. So it doesn't go, it's mainly a misdemeanor. So a felony and such crimes cannot go into a victim offender mediation. But misdemeanor, a petty offense, they can go through this process, and it's also yielding and is picking up. And we are getting very good feedback because we are seeing defendants and the victim and the offender actually coming up and actually restoring their relations and mending. And we've seen incidences where the victim saying, I even don't want anything from this person. I don't want any damages from this person. I even don't want him to be sentenced. What I want is I wanted him to accept and plead guilty and come back to his sentences, and then we end it. So we're seeing the beat that we have, that we want a restorative type of justice coming up, and we hope in the future we'll be on the right track. Yes.
Maybe just as we come to the end, one of the biggest offenses, I think, for many Rwandans is the ignorance of the law, which is no defense when we come to court. In terms of awareness campaigns, the people you've met, do you notice, do they know the law? Are they blind of the law? What are you doing to make sure at least a big percentage of Rwandans know the law, so they're able to defend themselves, but also reason their cases out fairly?
Well, thank you very much. That is a very good question, by the way. That adage still prevails, that ignorance of the law is no defense, especially where the law has been out there and is well vulgarized, so you can never say, I didn't know about the law. So that is why you see now the courts are no longer the classical courts where we used to sit in the courts and wait and you come for us. We are now coming to studios like this. We are always reaching out to the citizens, telling them we are using all platforms to see that we can reach out to them so that we can tell them about the law and definitely tell them what the courts are doing. Coming back to what the Constitution mandates us, it says we are delivering justice, or we are rendering justice in the name of the citizen. So we will continue in that trend, but of course we also appeal to everyone that has a hand in this, media houses and all this. We want to ask them that they give a platform to people that can come and teach the citizens about what laws, because laws come out every moment, and not everyone will be knowing the new law that has come in. So it's a moment that whenever there's a new law that comes in, you can those that can come and break it down to the citizen is very good. In that way, they can learn, they can know, and definitely know that this is a crime, and they go against committing a crime in that aspect, in that way.
Well, I also understand there's a case I was looking at where one of the person that was, I think, having their case went back with 100 million Of course,
Yes.
that is time saved, money saved.
Yes.
How much, roughly, of course, how much would it cost to run the cases of 818 people?
Well,
Roughly.
roughly. It depends, because if you go into adjudication of a full trial, well, even go even up to 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years, because you have the first instance, then that person might appeal. There are various, and definitely, you know, we have backlogs that are in the courts, definitely, and when the case is lodged into, it will wait until their turn comes, because you're not supposed to bypass the other cases that have been in the dockets in that way. So only those 800 cases, you find they have gone even up a year and something, because of the nitty-gritties that happen in the process of adjudication and litigation in that sense. So having it in this way, it definitely says time saved, and we usually know that justice delayed is justice denied, of course. But we also say that justice hurried is justice buried. So when we need to balance this, that is why we bring in these processes, area practices to come and supplement litigation and adjudication, so that we can have quality, timely, and definitely restorative justice combined together, and that we have justice for our citizens that befits them.
Indeed, justice delayed is justice denied, and
Yes.
justice denied, rather
Justice
hurried,
hurried
is justice
buried.
buried.
Yes.
Many thanks, Honorable Justice.
Thank
for
you very
joining us
much for
today.
having me.
Of course, now that is it from Honorable Justice Harrison Mutabazi, who is the spokesperson of Rwanda's judiciary. For us, we now take a short break and return with more news in a bit. Well, with that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm William Evans, and from me and the rest of the team, have a good night. Goodbye.